Video games. I love them, you love them, but at times we want to play that game, we never can or ever will play it because of cancellation, or in these games' cases, banned in that country. In this video, I'm discussing when the game got banned and if they came over, what changed? Welcome to what I like to call, why was it banned? When I talked about Mortal Kombat 2011, I said it was one of the good endings to come out of being unbanned and classified. This time, what about a game where it was bittersweet? The next game of the series of bannings wasn't R18+, but it was instead MA15+ this time. I'm talking about Saints Row 4. Another game of a known series like Mortal Kombat, but if you played them, they are very different games. One being a fighter game, and the other being an open world gangster game series, where it goes from being a 3rd Street Saint gang member to Saints Row 4, where you become the damn president of the United States of America. A real jump in logic from its humble beginnings. Mostly known as the GTA clone, Saints Row since has garnered its own following, drifting into silly adult humor that a 15-year-old would enjoy very much. From dildo bats to doing full nude runs in the city, or just having superpowers in a simulation city fighting aliens. Like I said, they really jumped the shark. Really jumped the shark. This wasn't the first time Saints Row had gotten into trouble for their games in the past, but they got away with it back in the days. Saints Row the 3rd had full-on sex dungeons, gimps, and fucking fisting machines. But what was it about Saints Row 4 that got it that little ban hammer? Well, two things. The first being a mission, and the second being an unlockable weapon in the game. Let's start with the weapon, as this weapon was the most talked about part of it, the Alien Anal Probe weapon, which for my Australian friends out there looked like this. In my all honest opinion, it's not a terrible weapon, but definitely a gimmick weapon that would all honestly be terrible in a firefight in that game to use. I'm not going to lie here and say why would they ban it, but I can't see it, you know. Australia has been known to have strict banning laws, and they have always been adamant on two things. The first being sexual content in games being used as violence, and the second I'll get to right now, drug use and being used as a reward incentive. The second reason for Saints Row 4's ban was a mission in the game where you work with one of your allies to stop one of the bad guys, and to gain the superpowers you have is to smoke an alien drug that rewards you with superpowers. Australia is a very big narc for drug use rewards in games and has always been drugs should not be a reward incentive, as they had an issue with games like that in the past. The Fallout series for one, and State of Decay for their use of morphine to heal your character in them. There'll be many other games I talk about regarding these types of issues, but unlike those games, Saints Row 4 had found a way to work around it. But not like the good ending of Mortal Kombat 2011, this time it was bittersweet. So what happened? This led to an ordeal that required the developers of Saints Row 4 to try again with the Australian Classification Board to get it unbanned. Only this time the game had to remove the anal probe weapon and also the reward incentive for the drug. So when you play the Australian version of Saints Row 4, the mission is still there, but that has been removed and the alien anal probe weapon has been removed as well. Nowhere to be seen in the game, is the only way you could ever play or see those from an Australian point of view is to YouTube it like I did, or find a way to get an outside of Australia copy. To wrap up this video, Saints Row 4, though lucky to get through to Australia's strict classifications board, in the end wasn't as lucky as Mortal Kombat 11 being able to keep all their stuff in, as Saints Row 4 was one of the many games where they had to remove things from their games entirely to come down to the consoles of Australian players. But with or without those additions, the game was still released and was played by many fans of the game down under. But what happens when a movie is allowed classification and released in Australia, but the movie video game tie-in isn't? Find out in the next episode of Why Was It Banned. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you want to see the next episode when it releases, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, as usual, thank you guys so much for watching.